Okay, magandang gabi po sa ating lahat, no? Breaking news. Dahil itong si Martin Romualdez at itong si Zaldico ay nag-announce na ang ombudsman na sasampahan na sila ng kaso. Ayan, nag-breaking news kanina na ito raw si Martin Romualdez ay nagtanggang tumakas palabas sa bansang Pilipinas. Yan po ang ating itatalakay ngayon, no? Tingnan lang natin kung itong ombudsman na inilabas na statement nila, itong si Clavano, no, na siya yung spokesperson ng ombudsman. Alam naman natin yung ombudsman na si Rimulya ay hindi na tayo masyadong naniniwala sa mga gimmick nito. Hindi muna tayo maniniwala na ito ay siseryosohin nila na si Martin Romualdez ay sasampahan na raw nila ng kaso. Tingnan lang natin, ha, kasi it's better said than done, di ba? Dapat totohanin muna nila. Dapat makakita muna tayo na si Martin Romualdez ay talagang kagaya ng ginawa nila ni Marcoleta at ni Mike Defensor na talagang kinulong nila, no? Kasi po non-bailable naman 'yan, no? Kung sasampahan nila ng kaso na corruption, plunder o kung ano mang isampa nila, tingnan lang natin. Kasi ang sabi ng iba ay gimmick na naman 'yan para may pangsona itong ating bangag na presidente, 'di ba? At sa kahuli-hulihan ng video na ito ay pakikinggan rin natin ang debate nitong si Jokno at itong si Attorney Powa na kung saan pinagdidebatehan nila kung dapat bang buksan o itong isupina itong bank records ni VP Sara, no? Kung talaga bang tingnan natin, no? May lalabag ba ito sa batas o hindi? Yan ang pag-uusapan natin, ha. Tingnan lang natin. Pero bago ang lahat, paki-like, paki-share dito sa ating video, guys, sa mga nanonood. At sa mga first time dito nanood sa ating YouTube, no, sa Donmar TV. Subscribe na po kayo. Click the notification bell at i-click nyo na yung all, no, para ma-notify kayo. Libre lang naman 'yan mag-subscribe. Okay? Walang bayad 'yan. Updated pa kayo sa ating mga trending na balita. Ito. Unahin muna natin ito, ha. Itong naglabas ng statement itong ombudsman. No? Tingnan natin kung ano ang laman ito at magre-react tayo. Play.
The Office of the Ombudsman is set to file two separate complaints for preliminary investigation against former House Speaker Martin Romualdez, Mr. Elizalde, and several other.
Wag puros kuda, ha, kasi nakakaumay na eh. Anong ibig kong sabihin? Nung DOJ pa kayong dalawa ni Rimulya noon, mahilig kayo sa kuda ng bibig ninyo, no? So, ang gusto ng taong bayan ay action, hindi puro salita, ha?
One for plunder under Republic Act number 7080 and another for violation of the Anti-Money Laundering Act as amended. Let me be precise about what this announcement means and what it does not mean. A complaint for preliminary investigation is not a conviction. It is not, at this stage, a formal charge before a court. It is the office's determination that the evidence gathered is substantial enough to warrant a full and formal inquiry into whether or not the case should be filed in court. Every respondent will be given the opportunity to answer. The presumption of innocence stands, as it must, unless and until proven otherwise in the proper forum. At this point, we will ask the respondents, including former Speaker of the House, Martin Romualdez, to answer the allegations contained in the complaint and put forth his defense. Once we receive his defense and that of his co-respondents, the case will be submitted for resolution and the decision will lie with the panel of prosecutors whether or not the case should be filed in the Sandigan Bayan. I would like to assure the public that this office follows the evidence where it leads. Regardless of the office once held, the influence still wielded, or the political weight of the name involved. Our investigation identifies former Speaker Romualdez as the central figure in a scheme built on the diversion of public funds meant for flood control projects. Funds that were supposed to shield Filipino communities from the very floods that year after year take their homes, their livelihoods, and too often their lives. His correspondents in this complaint include former Congressman Zaldico, among others. At the core of this case is the testimony this office does not take lightly. Sworn statements from 8 individuals who formerly served as Mr. Co's own security personnel. People who were present, who moved with him, who witnessed the exchanges firsthand, detailing the amounts delivered from Mr. Co to former Speaker Romualdez. This is not hearsay passed down secondhand. It is a first-hand account from those who were there. That testimony does not stand alone. It is corroborated by an independent evidentiary trail, from money exchange companies to bank transfers to shell companies, all using personalities tied to the former Speaker Martin Romualdez. The former security personnel of Mr. Zaldico record the first trace of money from Mr. Zaldico to the former Speaker. Investigation yields, however, that the money trail did not stop there. In an apparent attempt to cover up the extraordinary wealth, the money was exchanged, commingled, and laundered through an elaborate scheme. The result? Numerous luxury houses and condominiums, extravagant investments in different industries, and enough money left to change narratives, buy opinions, and attempt to destroy and manipulate evidence. Records drawn from the Anti-Money Laundering Council, money service businesses, and corporate structures that our investigators allege were used as an instrument in this scheme, when read together, tell one consistent story. Further, despite a precautionary whole departure order issued by the Sandigan Bayan, this office has received credible intelligence reports that former Speaker Martin Romualdez has not ceased attempting to leave the country. The office calls on all relevant agencies to make sure that this does not happen. Let me make this clear. We are not done collecting evidence. We are not done filing cases. The investigation reveals more and more each day and each week. To look away at this point is contrary to the very mandate of this office. So, we build cases as the evidence comes, and each element and crime becomes more apparent. As more come, the more we work and the more our cases churn. To every Filipino who has watched this scandal unfold with mounting anger and mounting doubt, who has asked again and again whether accountability would ever reach the top of the scheme or whether it would stop, as it so often has somewhere in the middle, I say to you, the evidence has spoken and this office has acted on it. Funds meant to hold back floodwaters were instead allegedly diverted into private hands, while communities were left exposed to the very disasters those funds were meant to prevent. The betrayal deserves and will receive the full and fair weight of the law. This office will provide further updates as these complaints proceed through preliminary investigation. We thank the media for their continued diligence in covering this case, and we thank the Filipino public for their patience as due process, real due process, is allowed to run its course. Maraming salamat.
Pagkatapos doon sa announcement na yun, ito yung sumunod. Ewan ko lang ha kung Sinadya ba ito ni Martin Romualdez? Ha? Na talagang iiwas siya dito, na natakot siguro siyang magaya siya ni Marcoleta at ni Mike Defensor na totohanin, kasi duda ko parang nagdududa lang ako, parang drama lang siguro ito, no, para magmukhang ah, parang sasabihin ng wala na kasing naniwala dito sa kay BBM baka inutusan ito ni ano, ni BBM itong si Remulla na totohanin mo na yung si Martin Romualdez para naman tataas yung rating ko, parang ganun ba? Hmm. Pero parang si Martin Romualdez rin, baka totoo, gagayahin niya si Zaldico na parang iniiwasan na niya, baka seryosohin na siya. Ewan ko lang ha. Hindi ko muna pangunahan, pero ito na yung sumunod. Pagkatapos doon, ito panoorin ninyo.
Binunyag ngayon ang tanggapan ng ombudsman na nakakuha umano sila ng intelligence report sa umunoy tangkang pagtakas palabas ng bansa ni dating House Speaker Martin Romualdez.
Kahit pa may umiiral na precautionary hold departure order at nasa kasagsagan ng investigasyon ito pong ombudsman kaugnay sa pagkakadawit ito sa anomalya sa multimilyong pisong flood control projects kickbacks.
At dahil dyan, nananawagan ngayon ang ombudsman sa mga law enforcement agency na may control sa border security ng bansa na bantayan ang galaw ng dating House Speaker. TJ Mendoza sa balita.
Nagtatangka umanong lumabas ng Pilipinas si dating House Speaker Martin Romualdez. Yan ang natanggap na credible intelligence report ng Office of the Ombudsman kahit pa may precautionary hold departure order na inilabas ng Sandigan Bayan laban sa dating leader ng Kamara.
The office calls on all relevant agencies to make sure that this does not happen. Let me make this clear.
Nananawagan ng Ombudsman sa law enforcement na may kinalaman sa border security para mabantayan ang galaw ng dating speaker.
So kaya namin siguro nire-remind yung ating law enforcement agencies, pati na rin ang ating border control, to please watch out. Dahil malamang sa hindi niyan, lalabas ho siya sa informal channels at hindi sa formal borders natin.
Hindi pa raw tapos ang ombudsman na mangolekta ng ebidensya at sa napipintong pagsasampa ng kaso laban kay Romualdez. Lalo pat ang plunder at money laundering complaint na inihahanda ng ombudsman ay iaakyat na sa preliminary investigation ngayong araw. Ibig sabihin, hihingan na ng counter affidavit o kontra salaysay ang dating speaker para mailatag nito ang depensa sa mga reklamong iniuugnay sa kanya na isa siya sa nasa likod ng maanomalyang flood control scandal.
Pagkatapos, sasabihin absuelto. Di ba? Wag mo nang magmamayabang, Remulla, na ganun preliminary investigation. Totohanin nyo na. Kung talagang para sa taong bayan yung ginagawa nyo, unfair naman sa part ni Mike Defensor at ni Marcoleta. Sige, ikulong nyo rin si Martin Romualdez. Tingnan natin kung totoo ba yan. Huwag puros kuda.
Kasama nito sa reklamo si dating Appropriations Chairman Elizalde Zaldico. Isa sa ginamit na ebidensya ng ombudsman ay ang mga salaysay ng 8 sa 18 Maleta Boys.
It is not, at this stage, a formal charge before a court. It is the office's determination that the evidence gathered is substantial enough to warrant a full and formal inquiry into whether or not the case should be filed in court.
Wala pang sagot ang kampo ng dating speaker kaugnay sa pahayag ng ombudsman. Pero paano kung sakaling umalis na ng bansa si Romualdez? Ano ang mangyayari sa mga reklamong nakahain sa kanya sa anti-graft body?
Parang niwe-waive na po niya. Actually, niwe-waive na po talaga niya yung kanyang karapatan para sumagot at maghain ng counter affidavit na ang nilalaman ho niyan ang kanyang depensa. No? So, we will have to resolve the case on the basis na lang po dun sa allegations sa complaint. So, wala na po siyang chance to defend himself in this forum.
Dumistansya naman ang palasyo sa investigasyon ng maanomalyang flood control scandal.
Kung saan po pupunta ang ebidensya. Sundan na lang po natin. So,
Sis, ang daming drama ninyo. Hugas kamay pa kayo. lahat namang yan ay utos yan. Ano yan? Director niyan si BBM. Di ba? Ewan ko lang kung kasabwat yung ano, script ninyo. Ako I personally believe na ito, drama lang ito. Kasi kapag si Romualdez ay siseryosohin ng ombudsman na kasuhan talaga, aabot itong investigasyon na ito sa presidente. Hindi natin alam kung si Martin Romualdez at si BBM meron silang pinag-usapan dito. Ay, ipalabas natin ito na ganito, ganyan, ganyan, ganyan. Pagkatapos niyan, i-absuelto ka lang. Parang sabihin talaga, ipamukha talaga sa taong bayan na may ginagawa talaga ang administrasyon. Ang pangalawa, kung seryoso ito, ito lang ang ma-advise ko kay Martin Romualdez. Martin Romualdez, kung seryoso ito, sabihin mo na ang totoo. Sabihin mo na ang totoo na may alam ka ba na tumatanggap rin si BBM? Tumatanggap rin ng maleta. Sabihin mo na ang totoo. Ewan ko lang talaga. Tingnan lang natin ang takbo nito. I cannot judge kaagad sa pangyayaring ito unless talaga kung ikulong nila si Martin Romualdez.
Kung ano po ang mangyayari sa anumang pag-iimbestiga dito, hindi po makikialam ang Pangulo at tatanggapin po ito.
Sinusubukan pa namin kuhanan ng Bureau of Immigration kaugnay pa rin sa Intel report na natanggap ng anti-graft body. TJ Mendoza, para sa Mata.
Ay nako, ewan ko na lang talaga. Tingnan lang natin. Pero kung totoo man na nagtangkang tumakas si Martin Romualdez, bakit ka magtangkang tumakas? Yan ang tanong, di ba? Kung tumakas ka, iniiwasan mo ang batas. O talagang, totoo bang ikaw ang mastermind dito? Baka natakot na siya. Baka kung ano yung nafe-feel ni Zaldico, yun rin ang nafe-feel ni Martin Romualdez. O kasi syempre, ikaw, kung marami ka na talagang pera na nilikom, no? Pwede kang tumakas at hindi ka na babalik sa Pilipinas. You have all the money para igasta sa ibang bansa. Wala. Since barya lang yan sa kanila kung sila ay pupunta sa ibang bansa at doon na sila mag-spend ng kanilang money. Barya lang yan. Kasi baka inanalyze nila, patay tayo dito kapag si BP Sara na sa 2028, makukulong na talaga tayo dito. Kaya sa simula pa lang ngayon, tatakas na tayo. Pwedeng ganun, Pwedeng ganun. Nag-analyze lang tayo, Pwedeng ganun ang mangyari, kaya tatakas na sila. Ewan ko na lang. Let us, gawa lang tayo ng parang scenario na posibleng ganun ang mga mangyayari. Heto po yung panglilihis ng flood control sa paghahanap ng mastermind ng flood control. Sa kabilang banda, heto rin ang banat ng administrasyon. Etong impeachment na useless.
Yung pong search warrant, kung ano man ang makuhang ebidensya doon, ay direktang binibigay po yun sa court, and that is now considered as evidence by the court that issued the search warrant. Iba po ang subpoena, dahil pag naglabas ang isang hukuman ng subpoena, itong mga records ay hindi po siya considered yet as evidence. Yan po ay ipoproduce lang, dadalhin lang po sa korte, and now it is up to the parties, and I refer to both parties, to decide which of those documents may be relevant in terms of the evidence that they are need to present.
Because in impeachment, as we have said, merong allegation ng unexplained wealth, pero wala naman pong nakasuporta ng mga documents para makita natin ano ba yung basis na naging aligasyon. Pangalawa po, again in impeachment, according to the case of Duterte versus House of Representatives, meron po tayong tinitingnan kung ano ba talaga ang impeachable offense. At yun po ay again, offenses or acts or omissions committed while the public officer is occupying the impeachable office and in relation to such office. That enough, Your Honors, is very clear under the decision.
Ayan, yun yung highlight ha. Tingnan natin
I'd
ang
like to
kabuhan.
start this discussion with a question that hopefully will allow our kababayans who are watching, listening, to understand the situation. Of course, I pose it also to the parties. If the government had in mind that there's a business and of course a particular businessman or businesswoman who is violating a lot of laws pertaining to the operation of their business, be it customs law, BIR, regulations, can they just proceed and pwede ba silang basta na lang mag-request ng dokumento o mag-file ng kaso na requiring the businessman and the corporation to produce those documents? Pwede ba? So yun ang pag-isipan natin, no? Kasi yun ang tanong eh. Similarly, ginagawan ko lang ng ibang analogy para maintindihan mga kababayan natin. So this is the essence, dear colleagues, parties, of the principle of due process. This is ingrained in our Constitution. Totoo po na may karapatan ang gobyerno at obligasyon ng gobyernong patakbuhin ng maayos ang gobyerno, but it is always with due respect to the rights of every individual Filipino. That is the right to life, liberty, and property. So bago mo sagasaan yung right to life, liberty, and property, siguraduhin mo lang na may basihan ka. Yun lang naman ang sabi. So of course, ako, gusto ko talaga na maayos ang patakbo ng gobyerno para if somebody's life is also in danger, then government has to step up and prevent somebody's liberty. Kasi nga, sinasagasaan niya yung life and liberty ng ibang tao. So it's a balance. No? I think we can all agree it's a balance. So I want to go straight into a landmark case and I will ask both parties for their legal opinions on it. Kasi it is a legal proceeding. Pero gawin nyo lang simple para hindi masyado complicated para sa mga nakikinig sa atin. So in the landmark case of Stonehill versus Diokno, 1967 pa po to, karamihan ng mga lawyers hindi pa pinapanganak. The importance of due process was highlighted and the Supreme Court discussed 2 points. General warrants are void. Sabi ng Supreme Court, a warrant must be issued on probable cause for one specific offense and must particularly describe the thing being seized. So kailangan particular ang description dun sa warrant. Warrants that leave it to the discretion of the officers serving them to decide what to seize or general warrants are outlawed by the Constitution because they place the sanctity of the home and privacy at the mercy of prosecutors. So sinabi dito na kailangan specific. Take note warrant ito ha. Supina naman ang pinag-uusapan natin. Alam ko po yun. Pero I'm pointing it out kasi ang magiging tanong ko later on is kung relevant ito sa kaso. Okay? The other principle that was established in Stonehill versus Diokno was the exclusionary rule. Evidence obtained through an unconstitutional search is inadmissible for any purpose in any proceeding. Ito po yung tinatawag na the fruit of the poison tree. Pag nakuha mo yung information dun sa bawal na paraan, kung ano yung information mo, bawal ipakita yon. And this is where I need to get guidance from the presiding officer. If I'm allowed, I don't have to name names, to share the discussion that we had in caucus para lang mabanggit ko na ito yung mga provisions of law na napag-usapan. Am I allowed to do that? Would you like me to approach you? Please let me know because I will abide. Basically, because ang nangyari is we had our own discussion and I want to mention the provisions of law that we discussed. I don't have to mention names.
The lady may proceed.
Okay, thank you. So, tungkol dito sa exclusionary rule, ulitin ko, fruits of the poison tree, dun nga sa aming very open discussion, and I thank many of our colleagues who were I think we engaged in a fruitful discussion for some, not for all. I think yung iba talagang gustong makipag-debate at di-debate kasi gusto ko rin matuto, no? I think all of you will attest na I also wanted to learn from all of you kung anong perceptions nyo sa batas, kung ano din yung sinasabi ng mga abogado nyo. So dun sa Fruits of the Poison Tree, sabi ko, kung yung pinanggalingan ng mga dokumento bawal na kunin ng basta-basta, then paano mo gagamitin? And meron kasing observation na lumabas na kasi yung documents na yon sa House. So nakita na ng publiko sa House. So sabi ko, pero if I will look at, and this is where I will pose the question to all of you, no? Medyo layered so pasensya na sa medyo complicated. Yung isang concern ng defense na nabasa ko is that hindi nag-allege ng ultimate facts. Hindi klaro kung ano yung naging kasalanan at hindi na-identify ng maayos itong facts na to that lead to a conclusion of law. So, wala daw yun. Later on, I will ask both parties again to also clarify that. But the point is, kung walang basihan yung paglabas ng ebidensya na yon, it is the fruit of the poison tree, then you cannot use it. So yun yung importante dito kasi I'm sure nakita nyo no sa korte, kahit sabihin nyo pong sa mga legal drama na na-throw out, the case is thrown out because na-violate ang due process. So that's the discussion I want to have. I want to hear both, ha? Wala akong kinikilingan dito. I'm just explaining na yun yung argument ng defense na walang due process, kulang, at why prosecution would you say na nasusunod yung due process? And before I give the floor to the parties, yung sinabi kong kaso na Stonehill versus Diokno, very interestingly, involves the esteemed father of our colleague, Congressman Prosecutor Chel Diokno. In the case of Stonehill versus Diokno, the father of Congressman Diokno was the Secretary of Justice. And in this case, the government, through the Secretary and other prosecutors, suspected that Harry Stonehill and his associates and several corporations that they controlled were violating central bank laws, tariff and customs laws, Internal Revenue Code, and the Revised Penal Code. So nag-request sila ng issuance of search warrant. At ang gusto nilang tingnan is books of accounts, financial records, vouchers, receipts, ledgers, etc., and other documents showing all the business transactions. Stonehill and the other petitioners filed a petition before the Supreme Court arguing that the search warrants were general warrants because they did not particularly describe the things to be seized. So, general pa pala yun. Books of accounts, financial records, receipts, general pa pala yun. And the Supreme Court ruled that indeed, general warrants are void. Warrants must be based on probable cause. Nasabi ko na yun, ano? And then the case also adopted the exclusionary rule, holding that evidence seized under an unconstitutional warrant is inadmissible. So, I now pose my questions. Applicable po ba ang kaso na ito, Stonehill versus Diokno, as far as the prosecution is concerned, and then also for the defense, applicable? Take note, I've read most of the pleadings, well, all of the pleadings, mahahaba sila. I kinda know your answer, but sa dami, I like to hear it again, and I think, of course, karamihan ng kababayan natin did not read it. So explain natin sa kanila, because this is a landmark case. Kung ikaw ay law student na magbabar, ito yung mga kasong titingnan mo. So malay mo, matanong yan sa bar. So nakatulong man lang tayo dun sa mga bar students na maliwanagan sila. Baka mamaya trick question to. Is it applicable or not? That is my question. I will sit down and then I will come back for my next. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. If I may be recognized.
The member of the panel of prosecutors may proceed to give his answer. Thereafter, the counsel for respondent may do so as well.
Iba po ang konteksto ng search warrant na naging main issue sa Stonehill versus Diokno. Sa konteksto po natin na subpoena ang pinag-uusapan. Ang search warrant po, ang governing law po dyan ay nasa Bill of Rights natin, Article 3, Section 3. At kaya siya nandun dahil very invasive po ang search warrant. Pag ang isang judge ay nag-issue ng search warrant, pwedeng pasukin yung opisina o yung bahay ng person involved, pwedeng halungkatin yung lahat ng mga gamit niya doon sa kanyang opisina o sa kanyang bahay. Kaya po naglagay ng
Kaya nga pambababoy na yung ginagawa ninyo sa buhay ng Vice Presidente eh. 'Di ba? Bank secrecy law, ganun lang, kasimple.
maraming limitasyon ang ating konstitusyon dahil marami ng pang-aabuso, marami ng mga halimbawa ng pang-aabuso na nangyari kahit noon pa. Iba po ang pinag-uusapan natin ngayon. Ang pinag-uusapan natin ngayon ay subpoena. Hindi po ito license to enter an office or to search any place. Ito po ay mismong humihiling lang ng mga dokumentong nakasulat sa loob ng subpoena. Therefore, the contexts are very different. When we speak of a search warrant, I do agree there should be very specific limitations on how that warrant can be enforced. Pagdating naman po sa subpoena, meron din po yan, but that is not governed by the Constitution. It's governed by Rule 21 of the Rules of Civil Procedure, which basically provide that for a subpoena to be valid, it must be relevant and it must be definite. Ibig po sa relevance ay may kinalaman na may kaugnayan yan sa mga kailangan patunayan ng mga facts. At pagdating naman sa definiteness ay klaro kung anong mga iba't ibang dokumento ang hinihingi. In our case, we respectfully submit, Your Honors, that we have met both the standards of relevance and materiality. The BIR records, the bank records, and the records of the Anti-Money Laundering Council are relevant to the facts in issue pertaining to the charges of unexplained wealth. Hindi po natin malalaman kung talagang merong unexplained wealth ang Vice President kung hindi natin mabubuksan yung kanyang mga bank records, kung hindi rin natin makikita at mailalatag
Para sa akin,
ang
mali yan.
anti-money laundering at BIR records po nila. And insofar as definiteness is concerned, we have specified the particular documents that we are requesting, and we have included as well an explanation of why those are important. Kaya sa aming pananaw po ay we have satisfied the requirements for a subpoena duces tecum. Thank you.
Mr. Presiding Officer, before we recognize the defense, just a quick follow-up question.
Hindi ko may lapit eh.
Bigyan ko ng time na bulungan muna siya ng kasama.
I'm
niya.
sorry.
Okay na kayo? No, it's okay. It's okay.
Senator Judge Pia, would you like the counsel for respondent to answer?
Not yet, Mr.
Not yet.
Yeah, my
Okay.
request was if I'll just ask a follow-up question.
You may proceed,
Thank
ma'am.
you for that. I appreciate his honor's response. May I simply point out, and again, please give me your explanation. Tama ho yung pagkambanggit nyo na yung nature ng search warrant very invasionary, di ba? Because it requires that pasukin yung bahay, halugugin yung gamit. Pero hindi kaya invasive din yung paghalughog ng records? Is that not extremely parallel? I mean, is it not very similar in the sense that what is being questioned now are the very essence of somebody's savings, earnings? So, which we have to agree, I think there's no doubt that that is protected, but in fact, His Honor is saying that it would fall under the police power. So, imbis na papasukin mo sa bahay na nandun yung mga dokumento, you will do the same by asking these agencies, whether it is the BIR, the banks, or AMLA to now reveal these documents. So that's my question. Is it in the prosecution's, is it the point of view of the prosecution na iba yun? Hindi ba invasive yun? Kayo gumamit ng word na invasionary, no, but I'll use invasive, I think. Yeah. Anyway, please answer, and then we'll give the floor to the defense, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Counsel for the panel for prosecutors,
Thank
may
you, Your
answer as he pleases.
Yung pong search warrant, kung ano man ang makuhang ebidensya doon, ay direktang binibigay po yun sa court, and that is now considered as evidence by the court that issued the search warrant. Iba po ang subpoena, dahil pag naglabas ang isang hukuman ng subpoena, itong mga records ay hindi po siya considered yet as evidence. Yan po ay ipoproduce lang, dadalhin lang po sa korte, and now it is up to the parties, and I refer to both parties, to decide which of those documents may be relevant in terms of the evidence that they are need to present. Yung pong nakikita po natin sa subpoena, it is not in any way invasive because as I mentioned earlier, as pointed out by Senator Enrile when he was the presiding officer in the Corona trial, we are simply having those documents produced. The admissibility of those documents will only be determined after if offered by the parties. Kaya po sa aming mga pananaw ay malaking-malaki ang pagkaiba ng search warrant sa subpoena.
Your Honor, may I be recognized?
With the permission of the lady Senator Judge, counsel for respondent may now give his answer to her query. You may proceed, sir.
Thank you, Your Honors. Your Honors, ang posisyon po ng depensa dito ay subpoena and a search warrant are very much similar in that both are compulsory processes. No? So, yes, hindi tayo papasok sa bahay ng isang tao o ng nasasakdal, but it will be intrusive because we will be opening up all the financial transactions for, sabi nga dito, almost 20 years of the respondent. Kaya po, katulad ng isang search
Pambababoy
warrant,
talaga.
the things that we are asking for through a subpoena must be particularly described. Kanina po, nabanggit po ng aking kagalang-galang na opposing counsel na particularly described na po yung kanilang naisulat. However, the defense does not agree with that proposition because if we look at it, tama naman po, nakasulat po dito ng hinihingi nila ay account opening and maintenance records, KYC documents, information files, signature cards, all account and transaction records, ledgers, journals. Basically, Your Honors, this is everything. Ibig sabihin, ni-specify lang nila ang nilalaman ng lahat ng bank records ng respondent. So, in our view, Your Honors, while they took pains to specify each and every document, the truth of the matter is they're asking for everything. Ngayon, pagdating sa subpoena, and even in the case they cited, yung Rocco versus Contreras, no? Nakasulat po doon that for a subpoena to be validly issued, when we talk about particularly describing yung kung ano yung hinihingi, it has to be evidence that is both relevant and material. So ang tanong namin, saan ba dito yung relevant or material? Kasi lahat na po ng records hiningi eh. So, and this bolsters our theory, of course with all due respect to the opposing side, na kaya namin tinatawag o kaya namin natawag na fishing expedition ito. Kasi lahat na ng records hiningi, pero hindi naman matukoy which would actually be relevant, which would actually be evidentiary to the accusations they have made under the articles of impeachment. So, pero dito, hinihingi natin 20 years worth of records. And then, paano po yun? Hihimayin natin, maghahanap tayo ngayon kung may relevant o wala. Which brings me back to yung BIR records. Nakaseal po yung box. So I would say, both parties, hindi natin alam kung anong nasa loob nun. Yet, we're hoping na somehow, pag nabuksan yung box na yon, meron po tayong makikitang ebidensya. And that's why, again, with all due respect, we called it a fishing expedition. Kasi hindi naman na-identify kung ano mismo doon yung pwedeng ebidensya laban sa sinasabing unexplained wealth umano ng Vice Presidente. So, with the question, for us, yes, the Stonehill case, Stonehill versus Diokno, directly applies to the current proceedings. Kasi nga po doon, sinasabi talaga na dapat specified yung hinihingi, particularly described and relevant. But as of this point, they're asking, Your Honors, for all of these things. And again, while they specified each and every document, kung babasahin niyo po ng mabuti ito, they're actually asking for all bank records without, in fact, telling us which transaction is relevant to their accusation, which transaction will actually support their accusation. Yun po yung aming pananaw dito sa tanong ng ating kagalang-galang na hukom. Thank you po.
Ayan, malinaw ha. Malinaw. They are asking for all because wala na. Ito yung gagamitin nila for fishing expedition. Maghahanap sila ng ebidensya kasi mahina nga eh. Mahina ang kaso nila dito. Patungkol po dito sa bank records ni BP Sara. Grabe sila, no? Grabe sila manghalungkat ng ebidensya, which is babuyin nila ang isang vice presidente para lang maghanap sila ng ebidensya. Grabe. Akala ko ba kayo meron kayong mga akusasyon laban sa vice presidente? Meron kayong ebidensya para patunayan ninyong impeachable yung ginawa ng vice presidente, pero dito pa lang very obvious na hanapan pa ninyo ng kamalian, 'di ba? Ay nako, sige lang. May panahon rin kayo, okay? Kayo mga audience ko dito sa Donmar TV, na lang po, mag-comment na lang po kayo sa inyong opinion. Babasahin natin 'yan sa comment section. Sa mga nanonood ngayon, paki-like, paki-share. At sa mga hindi pa nakasubscribe, subscribe na po kayo, okay? See you in my next video. Have a great day, have a great night. God bless po sa ating lahat. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas and God save the Philippines.